how important is it for you to be on LinkedIn?
I think it's important as a business networking platform. I mean, we're all about trying to reach new clients and meeting new people and finding people in the community who may be potential centers of influence or clients for us. And LinkedIn is just a very easy way to reach out into the community. And so it's free, number one, fairly easy to use. It's not like a newsletter where there's a big commitment. And so I think for that reason it's important.
And have you gotten much action from it? Like, are you seeing much activity as a result of using LinkedIn?
I see, and I have various thoughts on LinkedIn and where it began and sort of where it's evolving to. I do get reactions to articles that I post, or if I reach out to people seem prepared to connect. And the challenge, of course, is leveraging that to actual business opportunities. And I would say where it's been really effective in terms of getting your name out, maybe making connections with people, posting information and advice. Where I've had difficulty and where I have a challenge is actually turning that around into actual client flow and new business.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest challenges, turning that, pivoting that from introduction or being out there and being present to actually turning it into a dollar-making opportunity. But do you feel it's important to have original material posted on LinkedIn, or articles from services like Advisor Stream or some other service are just as good?
It's a good question. I've tried the gamut. I find that things that in our business, things where I talk about, have a nice little article, should your income be protected? And it's an article about disability insurance. And lucky if I get 50 views of it. You post some fun article that says, 5 ways to get over, Wednesday. Suddenly you get 500 hits. But I do find that if it's something that you've come up with, an idea that you've written, or an article that you've uncovered, I scour the Globe and the Star every day. So, if I toss an article from Globe Report on Business, if it's timely and thoughtful, I find I get a lot of responses to that.
Let me ask you this, David. Is the feedback mainly that you're getting from existing clients that you send the articles to? Like, we know that we should all connect with our existing clients on LinkedIn, and when we see our clients out there posting things, we probably ask for a connection and we connect with them. And it's always better to add a note or an article to that connection. But do you find that your reactions are mainly from current existing clients, or are you picking up new people as well?
I have to be honest, and this is the one challenge, and as much as I was happy to be a panelist today, I'm hoping today is also a learning opportunity, because I'm finding that a lot of the reaction comes from people I know, actually a lot of industry colleagues, some of whom might be on the call today, suppliers and friends. Not as much of a response from, say, someone who's a new connection or someone I've just met. And so, as you say, Don, the challenge is to pivot. Great to hear from and get reactions from people and already do business with. The pivot, needs to be how do we motivate or leverage all those new connections to come a little closer.
Excellent. Thanks, Don. And thanks so much, David, for sharing your insights too on LinkedIn and your experience. Hopefully you will take away some more strategies and tools today as well.
Thank you.
So, yeah, my pleasure. As an advisor, you are excellent at building relationships, and creating strong relationships leads to referrals, and referrals lead to the growth of your business. But having an online presence is no longer supplemental to that relationship building. Having an online presence is actually a critical part of prospects finding an advisor and starting to feel that sense of relationship with them. It's a key factor in building trust and building credibility. So I'm just going to make sure that everybody's on mute. Don, if you could just make sure that the feedback is all taken care of, please, that'd be great. Thanks. In 2020, 50% of advisors increased their use of LinkedIn. That's 1 in 2 advisors who improved their profile or got more active or got in front of potential clients. That is 100 of the 200 people on the line today. And they're going on LinkedIn because they know that this is a place where they can reach potential clients, prospects, and centers of influence. 67% of Canadian LinkedIn users are 25 to 34 years old, and 22% are between 35 and 54. That means that almost 80% of LinkedIn users are in those stages of their lives where they need a financial advice and they need somebody to guide them through to make sure they achieve that financial security. 44% of users earn more than $75,000 a year, and 41% of millionaires have a LinkedIn profile. This is not just a tool like we used to think it was, where it was a place to go find a job if you were unemployed. This is more than that. This is a powerful networking tool that is used by professionals every day. And 38% of the advisors who increased their use in 2020 expect to continue increasing it this year. So if you're not one of those advisors who increased last year or who's going to continue increasing this year, then the other half of the advisors on the line are going to get in front of those same people that you're trying to connect with. Today we'll start by looking at why LinkedIn is so important, why it's a powerful tool for your business. Then we'll take a look at the different types of profiles that we often see from advisors on LinkedIn, whether those are kind of the poor profiles that haven't put a lot of attention or effort in and aren't really doing much to support the advisor's goals, versus those that are really exceptional and help to illustrate your unique value. And then finally, I'll take you through the steps so you can leave today knowing how to optimize your profile and take back control of that first impression you're making online. I'm just going to make sure that all the participants are on mute. Give me a second here. Okay. Don, maybe you can help me with that. There's just a lot of feedback coming my way.
Okay, I will. I think everything's on mute, so just turn your audio down maybe.
Okay, thanks. All right. So LinkedIn is an important tool for 3 reasons. First of all, we know that people rely on LinkedIn as a source for credible information. The minute somebody hears your name or hears about you, they are going online. So you have an opportunity to control that first impression if your LinkedIn profile is giving the image that you want it to give off. The second is that we know that staying top of mind is essential for any business, and LinkedIn has a unique ability to help you stay top of mind with your network. And lastly, the way that you engage on LinkedIn contributes to building that credibility and trust and deepen relationships. So let's look at these reasons in a little more detail. 4.5 stars. If we were playing a game of word association, what comes to your mind when you hear 4.5 stars? It might be the word hotel or restaurant, maybe hairdresser. Maybe it's an Amazon review. We rely on reviews and recommendations when researching products of all types. 55% of consumers go online to look for reviews before making any decision, whether that's something as small as picking a place to take someone for lunch or as large as that big vacation you're going on. So they're definitely looking for online reviews and recommendations when seeking for somebody to help them with the most important thing in their life, their finances and their financial security. 49% of respondents to a survey hosted by LIMRA looking for a financial advisor would research them on social media. So these are people who are either looking for a financial advisor out of the blue, or if they've been referred to an advisor, they're going online to look them up. 52% of buyers list LinkedIn as the most influential channel during the research process. So whereas the website is a static tool that people can go to find information about services, It's on LinkedIn and social media where we see how individuals interact. We see a bit of their personality and their character. So this is really influential in deciding whether or not to work with someone. And 94% of affluent consumers under 45 years old, so a big client base that represents a lot of profitability in the future, and 83% of affluent consumers over 65 say that if an advisor is recommended to them, they would start by looking them up online. So prospects are going to LinkedIn to look for you. And we know that the golden rule is to treat people the way that you would want to be treated, but we need to treat people with the platinum rule. Prospects want to find information on LinkedIn, so we need to treat them the way they want to be treated and give them the information they're looking for. The second reason LinkedIn is so important is that it helps you stay top of mind, and staying top of mind is essential for any business looking to succeed. In the late 1920s, Kellogg's and Post were the leaders in this new innovative industry called breakfast cereal. And when the Great Depression hit, nobody really knew what would happen to this industry because it was still really in its infancy. Post did the obvious thing. They pulled back on their expenses and their advertising, and they tried to just decrease their expenses and make it through the Depression. Kellogg's did the opposite thing. They invested further into their marketing and advertising, and because of that, they remained top of mind with consumers, and today they remain the market leader. Now, this is, of course, a different scenario when we're not dealing with breakfast cereal or depression, but it highlights the importance of staying top of mind with consumers in order to stay ahead. And LinkedIn lets us do just that. The power of LinkedIn is incredible. When you go onto LinkedIn, you see your newsfeed. This newsfeed comprised of things that you are interested in. So as you like different posts and activity related to a specific topic, those will come up. It will show your network's activity. So anybody you're connected to, their activity will show up. If I was connected with Chad on LinkedIn and he was posting, his post would show up in my newsfeed. But it will also show me any of the activity of my network. So that means that if Chad goes and likes David's LinkedIn post, I will also see David's LinkedIn post in my feed. So you have the ability to put content out there and stay top of mind with your centers of influence. And if they're interacting with your content, then their networks will see your name and the content that you're posting about. So you have the opportunity to stay top of mind with your direct network and get in front of their networks without waiting for an introduction. And as you build your online presence and you stay top of mind, you're building credibility. Every time you post or engage with content, you're demonstrating to people the types of topics you deal with, the types of problems you can help them with, the industries you're informed about and well-versed in. You're giving people samples of what you can help them with and what you're like, how you will help them with that. You're creating a familiarity, a trust with them before you've ever met. And it works. We know that 35% of LinkedIn users go on the site daily, so they're seeing the content that goes out there and they're seeing how you interact with different people. We see leads coming from LinkedIn, and we know that for B2B, LinkedIn is the most important social media channel. So it's a powerful tool. Being on LinkedIn is no longer a supplement to meeting people in person and to having a website. It is an equally integral part of your marketing strategy. It gives you control of the first impression you're making online. It helps you stay top of mind with your clients and their networks as well. And it helps you cultivate relationships at a distance, build a familiarity and trust before you've had the chance to meet somebody. So with that in mind, what does it look like to be worth finding on LinkedIn? What is a strong profile like? There's three types of profiles that we typically see. There's the low scoring profile, the average, and the exceptional, and I'll walk you through some examples of these. So the low scoring profile. This is one where somebody set it up 10 years ago and they haven't looked at it again. They are missing their photos. They don't have any information in their about section, which is a great opportunity to introduce yourself. They haven't taken advantage of it. The experience section may be out of date or just filled in at the very, very minimum. There could be spelling mistakes or typos highlighting an important lack of attention to detail. Or maybe they're treating LinkedIn like Facebook and getting a little bit too personal and a little too far from the professional. This is the low scoring profile. It hurts your credibility. When somebody hears your name and they look you up, they want to know who you are, what you're about, and what you can do for them. And if you're not giving any information away, it's actually hurting your credibility. People wonder, why don't they have a profile? What are they hiding? What don't they want me to know? When we move past the low scoring profile, we get into the average profile. And this is really the average that we see. It's an opportunity to tell a little bit about yourself, but it fails to differentiate you from other advisors. You've maybe, plugged in your resume and LinkedIn's automatically filled it in. There may not be all the sections filled out, maybe just some of them. So we're not really getting a detailed look at who you are. This is the average profile, right? There's some information. It doesn't hurt our credibility. We see, okay, I get a bit of an idea of who this person is, but it doesn't engage me or really help me understand why you are the advisor that I should be working with. And once we spend more time and really put some thought and effort into how we want to show up online, that's where we move into the exceptional profile. The exceptional profile is all tied together by a unique brand. It's very clear what this person is all about, what it would be like to work with them, the types of services they can provide, and who they are. Every aspect of the profile is personalized and optimized to reinforce that brand. Here's an example of an exceptional profile. We can see a very clear headshot, a nice picture of their office so we know who this person's about. We see, as we scroll through the profile, a very personal and descriptive introduction about who they are. We see some featured posts, so things that they've posted to their LinkedIn feed that they want to highlight to their network, so we get some really key ideas of who she is or what's important to her. As we continue to scroll through, we see she's active on LinkedIn. She's engaging with her network. We see a clear description of her practice and her past experience. We see her licenses, her certification, her education, her volunteer experience. We even see recommendations from clients and colleagues that she's worked with. There is so much to this profile, not just that she's giving, but that her network has given to the profile, to really give us a clear idea of who she is and what makes her unique. The goal of having a profile is to get to that exceptional profile. It's to get to that one that clearly highlights what sets you apart from other advisors and why you are the person that they should turn to. So let's look at how you can optimize your profile. This is where we'll spend the most of the time today because I know that this is really what's most important to you. Remember, the key here is that you need to take the time to optimize your profile. So after today, you will receive access to a video series that will help you do that, as well as some tools and a full guide on LinkedIn. So if you don't have time to take notes today, don't worry, all this information will also be provided to you afterwards. All right, so when it comes to LinkedIn, we're going to start by looking at how to activate your profile. So this is where we're really building out that profile, building out your unique brand, letting people know what's different about you. Once you've activated your profile, now you're ready to move into building engagement, engaging with your network, posting, getting your profile out there in front of people to see, because now it's ready. Now you've got that first impression under control. And then we'll talk about how you can cultivate your results. I don't want you spending time on LinkedIn if you're not getting anything out of it. So we'll take a look at how you can see what it's doing for you, who's engaging with your content, and how you can adapt your strategy accordingly. So we'll go through the A, the B, and the C. Okay, so activating your profile. As we go through as well, I should mention, if you do have questions, please feel free to put them into the chat, and then I'll get to those at the end. People don't buy what you do, right? This is Simon Sinek. He teaches us that people aren't motivated to come work with you because of the thing that you're selling. People aren't motivated to come work with you because they need insurance and you can offer them insurance. People are motivated by why you do what you do. It's your motivation to help them. It's your passion. It's the thing that drives you that will get them on board and connect with them emotionally and start to build that relationship that will help you turn that prospect into a client and help you stand out in their mind. So starting by defining your brand is so important. This is what will motivate people to want to work with you. Now, we have at Sun Life our brand story formula, and this is something that you could use or not, but defining your brand is about communicating these three things to prospects. It's what is the problem that you help solve? What is your unique approach to solving that problem? So what is the solution that you can offer? And then what is a successful ending? So what do people get out of working with you? These three things really let people know why you're someone worth working with. They connect you to an emotional side of them where they see a problem that they have and you present a solution to solve it and let them know where you're going to take them, what that happy ending is going to be. So the first part of activating your profile is really narrowing in on what you want your brand to be, or really what your brand is. You can reflect on the problems that you solve and how you do it for your clients. You can ask other people how they perceive your brand, and narrow in on what that brand is. And then every aspect of your profile should support that. So as you look through your profile, we have the introduction and the about section. So those are the first two boxes that you see in the image here. This is the first thing that people see. We have the background, so your work experience, as well as any education and volunteer experience, and then as well any skills, accomplishments, or additional information that you choose to include. All of these, everything you fill into these sections should support your brand. So starting with your introduction and your about section, these are really your first impressions, right? When people first see your profile, this is the first thing they're looking at. And more than that, anytime you comment on something, your name, title, tagline are showing up. So these are really the first things that people see about you. So your headshot needs to be in place. You need to have a picture where people can clearly see what you look like and who you are so you can connect on that human level. Your cover photo also needs to be completed. It is something so simple, but if you don't have a cover photo, it just looks like you haven't finished building your profile yet. So although, yes, like LinkedIn standard gray circular background looks okay, if you add a cover photo, it'll take you 10 seconds and it will add your profile that much more credibility. You could do a picture like I've done of the skyline of the city that you live and work out of. You could do a picture like Chad has of his family, a great example of who you are as a person, and also ties into protecting families and securing their futures, so very relevant to his brand. You could do a picture of your office like we saw. Really anything that supports your brand and that puts that first impression in place that you want to make. Then the last part of this is your tagline. So below your name is a tagline, and you can see here mine is helping financial advisors win clients for life through training on quick win solutions to evolve their practice. And the reason I have this here rather than Senior Manager, Sun Life Financial, is that topic, that title, Senior Manager, means a lot of things to a lot of different people. And everybody has their own conclusions about what that means, but it's not necessarily what it means to me. And it doesn't explain what I do or what my brand is. So if you put a tagline that describes who you help and what you help them do, then every time you post or engage on LinkedIn, anytime you leave a comment, people will see your tagline and you will have reinforced that brand in their mind. You're creating a word association between your name and what it is that you do for clients. It's also making it that much more interesting and intriguing for people to visit your profile than simply financial advisor. The next piece of your profile is your About section. And here's where you really get into your why. This is your opportunity to give a personal introduction of yourself. It's your opportunity to explain who you are and why you're worth working with. So I'd recommend you start with that brand. Whatever that brand story is, put that right up front. This is your opportunity to say, hey, here's the problem I solve. This is how I do it, and this is what people get out of working with me. Once you've hooked people in with that and they've seen that you're someone relevant to them and capable of helping with them, now you can continue to build upon that introduction. What is it like to work with you? What is your unique process? What can they expect? What are some of your professional experiences or achievements that highlight that credibility and that put that trust in them that you are the person to help them? And then maybe connect on the personal level. What is it that you like to do in your free time? What are your hobbies? What are your interests? Or, what's a story about yourself growing up that led you to do what you do today? Giving that really well-rounded introduction of yourself, rather than just stating the services that you offer or the designations that you have, gives people that personal introduction to you and really lets you take control over your first impression. Following your About section is your background. So your background includes your professional experience, your education, licenses and certification, and volunteer experience. And again, these should all support your brand. So if you are someone whose brand is about being very consultative, you are someone who is a quarterback between your clients' different advisors, then you want to include any sort of past experience that's relevant to that consultative side of you. You'd want to really highlight and draw out those things in the way that you fill in your professional experience or in the education that you put in. If you're somebody who is very technical in nature, then again, any past experiences, you want to bring out those technical experiences or accomplishments from those roles to further enhance that credibility. Your education, of course, should be there. Licenses and certifications, excellent. Rather than just having them in your About section, having them there listed under the licenses and certifications is, again, just 2 seconds more work, but that much more credible. And then volunteer experience rounds out you as a person. So myself, my brand, helping people, it's helping advisors grow. And this is very true to who I am, because in my personal life, I am a volunteer with the Girl Guides. I've been part of the Girl Guides organization for 20-something years now, I guess 22 years. And so helping young children grow and develop new skills is something I'm very passionate about. So not only does it round out my brand, bring more, again, credibility to that brand, but it also helps me connect with people on that human level. Anytime somebody views my profile and sees that I'm involved with Girl Guides, if they're involved with any sorts of Girl Guides or Girl Scouts organization or Boy Scouts or even just other organizations related to youth or education, we automatically have something to connect over. We automatically feel like we have a bit of an understanding and connection. So it's a great way to build out that brand, reinforce it, and connect on a personal level. So once you've activated your profile, now you're ready to build. So you want to build your presence on LinkedIn by connecting with people, by engaging with them, and really getting your name out there. And there's a couple different ways you can do this. So we'll talk about posting, sharing, commenting, and liking. So posting. Posting is where you offer something to your network on LinkedIn. This could either be something that you've written yourself. It could be sharing a link to an article. It could be sharing a review on a recent book you read, or if you attended a certain webinar or event, you could share your thoughts or your learnings from that. And the goal of posting is to add value to your network. So when people see your post come up on their newsfeed, they will learn something from it, or they will see what you are all about, what you're passionate about, what you're interested in, what types of services that you offer. So anything that you post should line up to what you want your audience to see, what they would want to see, and again, what your brand is. The best practice when posting is also to include a call to action. So remember, when you post on LinkedIn, your network will see that post. And if somebody likes your post or comments on your post, their network will see it and your post as well. So include a question at the end of your post, something like, what was your favorite book of 2020 if you were doing a book review, or what are your top priorities for the upcoming year, or what are your thoughts on this article? Asking a question and asking people to comment is a great way to get engagement. It could even be something as simple as, like this post if you agree that X, Y, Z. So giving a call to action for people to engage with your content will help you get more views on it. Another strategy to really hook people into engaging with your content is the see more strategy. So when you post on LinkedIn, only the first 3 lines are visible. So once people read the first 3 lines, they have to click on see more, and then they'll see your whole post. The first 3 lines should be some sort of hook. Because when you put a hook in those first 3 lines, people will get interested, they'll get curious, and then they'll click on the full see more, and then they'll read through your whole content. If you just post a big block of text, rather than just taking some time to format it and separate it out like this, it just won't hook people's attention the same way. They're not interested in reading a big block. So see more strategy is a great way to get people to open up your post, engage with it, as well as adding photos to your post. This just takes up more real estate on your feed, so people will notice your post more. It'll stand out in their eyes. Another way to get more views is to use hashtags and @mentions. So hashtags categorize your information. So we can see here in this image that Renee's hashtag insurance, hashtag financial planning, hashtag practice management. So what she's done is she said, this thing I'm posting about is relevant to these 3 topics. You can include hashtags at the end of your post or right in the text, and you can include anywhere from 3 to 5. Sometimes people include even more than that, but 3 to 5 is a good number. And anybody who regularly likes and engages with content of a specific hashtag are more likely to see those sorts of posts pop up. As well, if there's a hashtag that you're interested in or that other people are interested in, you can follow a hashtag. So anytime somebody posts using that hashtag, it'll come up in your feed. So you can hashtag about topics that your clients may be following. If you wanted to create a following for your practice, you could create a custom hashtag that anytime you post, you use that one. But using the hashtag will help get more views on that post because the algorithm will know how to send it out. @mentions are where you connect your post to an individual person. So here, Renee's @mentioned Wayne Miller, Amal Nasri, and Jillian Farrow. Their names pop up in blue, and if you click on their names, you'll be taken to their profiles. So this is a great tool because it shows that you are actively engaging with people. It's as if rather than sending somebody a private message, you did it publicly because you've connected the two of you in an open space for everybody to see. It shows that you do have those connections, so you are somebody who is connected in the industry or who is well informed and well connected. It also will give that person a notification that you've tagged them, and so they're more likely to engage with your content, and then therefore their networks will see that post as well. The next couple ways you can engage with your audience are sharing, commenting, and liking. And these are much less time intensive than posting because you don't need to spend the time to think of the content and write it out. But it still adds to your network because it's putting your name out in front of other people to see. It's showing that you are engaged, you're active, you're informed. And when people go to your feed, they'll not only see when people go to your profile, they'll not only see things that you've posted, but also the content that you are engaging with through sharing, commenting, and liking. So it's important that when you do those things, you're, again, keeping in mind your brand. So sharing. Sharing is taking somebody else's post and sharing it out to your network. So it's a lot less time intensive than posting because somebody else has written the meat of the post. But what I'd encourage you to do is still add some sort of caption. Tell people why you are sharing it. So what do you want them to do with that information, or why is it so important for you to share it? And again, you can use those same best practices of hashtags, mentions, and call to action to get people to engage with your post and to get more visibility on it. Commenting is where you're engaging with somebody in a public forum. So anybody can see any comment that's made on LinkedIn. So if somebody in your network, whether that's a client or a center of influence or maybe somebody in the industry, comment something that you think is important or that you have an opinion on or that you want to show appreciation for, you can comment on it to do that. So you can just say thanks for sharing. You could offer additional resources. So if you have another book or another article that's relevant to that topic, maybe you have experience to share, you can comment all those things. And the best practice would be to mention the author in your comments so that they get notified that you've done that. And then again, keep in mind the message that you're showing to your network. What are you commenting? What do you want them to see? Make sure that you are making that right impression and that you are building your brand. And then liking. So liking is the least time-intensive thing to do, but you need to like strategically. It is so easy to just scroll through your feed and like any post from anybody at all. But when you're doing that, then you're not building on your brand. So imagine if every time somebody sees their LinkedIn feed and they see myself, Allison, liked this post, and each post is relevant to something completely unrelated. One is about one of my friends from high school who got a new job. Another one is about something going on in the tech world. Another one is about something that happened at a zoo on the weekend. And all this information is showing up on your feed, and you're seeing that I'm liking these things. You are not getting any idea of who I am, what I'm about, what I do. But if every time my name comes up in your feed as having liked something related to marketing, business building, branding, LinkedIn, video marketing, client segmentation, client service, then you really quickly see what I do, the types of topics that I engage with, and all of those things are topics that I help advisors with. So that would contribute to building up my brand. So when you engage with your content, with your network on LinkedIn, you can do that by posting, or you can do a less than time intensive like commenting, sharing, and liking. But everything you do on LinkedIn Be strategic about it and think about the information that will add value to your network. Finally, you can cultivate your results. Like I mentioned, I don't want you to spend time posting if you're not getting anything out of it. There's no sense in doing something that's not working. So we'll take a look at how you can evaluate whether or not what you're doing on LinkedIn is paying off for you. So the things that we'll look at are the number of views and likes that your content gets, as well as how you're responding to comments and shares. So here's an example of a post from one of my colleagues, Wayne Miller. And in this post, you can see he's done some @ mentions with people that he worked with on his headshots. And then he added some hashtags about photography because that's what his post is about. So this post is a great example of one that balances the line between the personal and the professional. And this is the type of post that actually does get a lot of engagement because we are humans. You know, we're not all business all the time. So when people are vulnerable and they open up a little bit about their personal side on LinkedIn, it does do very well. And as you can see here, there are 88 reactions or likes and 150 comments on the post. So you might say, wow, that's great. That's a lot of people. And I would agree with you. That's a really well-performing post. But if we look even further down, we see that 11,948 people saw Wayne's post. So although only 200 odd people actually engaged with it, nearly 12,000 people saw Wayne's post and his pictures come up on their feed. So it's so powerful. It demonstrates how many times your post is getting in front of other people's networks. It's really exponential the way that your posts get amplified. So when you click on that number, 11,948, this is a number that's private to you on your view of your post. When you click on that, a dialog box will open up, and this box will show you who it was that engaged with your content. So we can see what companies they work at, what types of roles they're in, and what locations they're in. Using that information, we can then look for patterns in what's working and what isn't working. So if we're posting every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. and we see that we're not getting a lot of likes or reactions, then we know that we could change the time of day. And if the time of day isn't working, then maybe next week we go back and we switch to a different day of the week. So look for patterns in when your specific audience that you're trying to reach is active and engaging with content. If you see that you're not reaching people in the right type of roles that you want to work with, so maybe you're looking for executives and those aren't the types of people that are seeing your content or engaging with your content, then you can think about how to get in front of them. Maybe it's the topics that you're posting about that aren't right, or maybe it's the hashtags you're using. Maybe you're not connected with enough of your existing clients or with enough of your centers of influence to be able to get in front of the right people. So think about who it is that you are actually reaching and how you're reaching them, and then adapt your strategy so you can better get in front of the people that you want to. As you are having people engage with your content, you also want to make sure that you're not leaving it there, right? Results always come through follow through. So as people are engaging with your content, engage back with them. So if people are commenting, then comment back. Mention their name in the comments so they make sure that you make sure that they've seen it, and then comment back to them another thought, another thank you, another interesting fact, whatever that is, but keep the conversation going because this is an opportunity to build that relationship as well as to show other people that you're open to building relationships. And then as you perhaps build with people, you can take that conversation offline, email them or call them and get in touch with them and build upon that relationship. So those are the ABCs of LinkedIn. We start by activating your profile, and everything on your profile should be centered around a brand. This brand will help us determine what cover photo to put, how to introduce ourselves, what experiences to pull out of our professional experience section, and it'll help us complete all the aspects of our profile. Once we've got that profile set up and ready for people to see, it's making the right impression, now we can engage with the audience. We can build our presence. We build our presence by posting, giving people a sample of the types of topics we deal with, the types of problems we deal with, maybe the products or the industries that we deal in. And these posts will show our network that we are active, that it's a sample of the things that you can do for them. You can also spend a little less time, a little more often by commenting and liking and sharing other people's posts, always keeping in mind what information will add value to your network and what will reinforce your brand when people see it. Finally, cultivate your results. See how your posts and your activity is doing, see how your network is receiving it, and see who is receiving it. If the wrong audience is receiving it or not enough people are receiving it, adapt your strategy accordingly. And as people are engaging, are commenting, don't let the interaction fall flat. Comment back and follow through to build on that relationship. LinkedIn is your tool to make your first impression in front of prospects. We know that prospects are looking you up on social media, whether or not they engage with you right there and then, or whether or not they ever tell you about it, they are going to look you up and they are going to make conclusions based on what they see there. LinkedIn lets you stay top of mind with your clients, with your centers of influence and their networks as well. And as you continue to do that, you'll build credibility, you'll build trust, and build relationships.
You've had a website for a while as well, Chad. I know you use LinkedIn quite a bit. And like I said, if everybody would just go into LinkedIn, into the search engine and take a look at Chad's name here, you'll see his LinkedIn page. And it's very much set up ideally like Allison is suggesting, as is David Cook's. And David and Chad are obviously advisors with IDC Worldsource. But I know, Chad, because of our discussion last week, we were chatting about some activity. Has LinkedIn created a larger presence for you to your customers and to prospects?
Yeah, I would say, like, for me, it's like free marketing. So I don't even have the premium version of LinkedIn, but I know the power of it. And I guess my thought process with it is to try to stay top of mind, like Allison said, with my network. I actually don't, shame on me, add all of my clients that I've done business with, but I should be doing that. So that's maybe a best practice and takeaway for all of us. But my network is, probably nearing 1,300 people. And I do get better engagement in certain things, but when I kind of walk the line of professional and personal, I find that's where I get the most engagement. But I think that you got to be real and be human. And I really don't like canned content. So I see a lot of other people hiring firms to do things for them that is not personal. So that's just not me. It's not my style. I want to be real and offer real content. Mm-hmm. But my business is, I try to work mostly by referral. So centers of influence are very important. I do a lot of split case work with other advisors, whether it be life licensed advisors or benefit advisors across the country. I'm looking to connect with new professionals. I've actually had clients that have fired me in the past because they had a new relationship come into their life and they said, "Hey, I'm going to move my stuff. This guy, our sons play hockey. No offense. He didn't do anything wrong." Anyway, so the guy didn't measure up and he got reminded of me via LinkedIn and came back to me as a client, actually. And I did more significant business with that client. So for me, it's just a simple way to, an inexpensive way to stay in touch with and market myself.
I know recently you did a webinar with some accountant clients. So one of the things that's always a challenge for advisors is flipping the switch from being a resource to go see you and learn about you. But you turned that around and invited current clients who are accountants to a webinar that you held. You had some reaction, some positive reaction. Can you tell us a little bit about that? We've only got a couple of minutes, but I wanted to get that out there because with our being, COVID-19 and the way business has changed, you've actually turned that into a big positive for you by getting some new business through that venue. Can you tell us just briefly about that?
Yeah. So when COVID happened, I obviously invested in a Zoom account, and I think presentations are powerful, and I think now it's easier than ever to attend a presentation. So I did a 45-minute webinar, and I invited mostly accountants. There was a couple of fee-only financial planners. There was a banker, but it was myself and one of the tax and estate planning CA designated folks from one of the insurance companies joined me for the chat. There was about a dozen of us on the call, and we went through a presentation, about tax and estate planning and how life insurance can help. And the benefit there, Don, is my business isn't just local to just east of Toronto. Like I do business all over Ontario, mostly, some business in other provinces as well. But the professionals that were on that call were anywhere from Ottawa to Windsor. And I was able to get, their attention for that 45 minutes. And we've actually developed some significant cases from that touch point. So these weren't necessarily brand new people to me, but it was another way to stay engaged and just reconnect and share some ideas and some case studies with them.
David, you're working a lot in the office and doing a lot of web meetings using Leap. How is that working out for you?
It's working well. People are open to it. If you can get your head around the technology, I'm not a great technical guy, but the tools are so easy to use. Clients are open to them. For all the time that we spend fighting traffic, finding parking, booking the boardrooms, clients are actually open to 30 minutes on a call versus, that hour running around, coming to your office or us going to see them. So people are open to it. They're used to it. And so I think it's just a great tool. And it's a low tension, low commitment thing for a new client, to join you for 20 minutes on a video call versus an in-person meeting.
And I know you recently updated your web page. That's not a cheap thing to do. What kind of expectations do you have for having the web page updated now?
The expectation, and this goes to Allison's point. It's all about branding, helping people understand what it is you do, why you do it. And really, my webpage was designed for two things. It's to attract the clients I want, and it's also a very polite way to dissuade the clients I don't want. They're going to sort themselves out on their website if they're not the right fit. So it's just another way to get introduced, build a brand, build a bit of familiarity before they ever meet me in person.
No, but it is true. You want to, if you're not putting content or representing kind of the type of client that you want, and marketing towards that type of client, then people that are going to refer people to you, they might refer the clients that maybe are not, probably aren't going to be a good fit. So whatever those measures are, but anyway, it was a good comment.
It goes back to what Allison said. If you're out there, you can be found, and you have the right message, it's going to resonate with a large. I know you folks, and it resonates with a large group of the population. So the opportunity to get more business through social media is definitely there. It's maximizing that opportunity. And I know Allison has some tools that we want to make sure the advisor is aware of that allow you to maximize the opportunity, as well as, I'm prepared to, and I know others here are prepared, that your BDE is prepared to help you work on your LinkedIn page, because it's not that easy to go there and write some of the material or figure out what to say or the photograph you should use. I was lucky enough to take David's pictures for his web page, and I think he's got them on his LinkedIn page as well. So in Mississauga, that opportunity obviously is there for you. If you need a photograph taken for the LinkedIn page, as soon as we can get into the office again, we can have that happen. But Allison, why don't you bring it home and your last couple of messages in terms of the support material that Sun Life has in place that advisors can take advantage of.
And just to quickly answer the questions from the chat box, yes, if somebody tags you on a post that you don't want to be tagged in, you can certainly remove your tag. And a question about, is it better to hire a social media manager or do it yourself? I'd say if it's your personal profile that you're working from, I would do that yourself. You could perhaps have somebody help you craft some of those posts, but you want to make sure it comes naturally from your own words as well. If you do have a company page on LinkedIn, that's where you could have a social media manager. Thanks. Yes. So the LinkedIn guide, which we have, is a full comprehensive guide made for financial advisors on how to activate, build, and then cultivate your results from LinkedIn. If you're more of a visual learner, the video playlist shows you how to take your profile from a C- from a really poor performing profile all the way to that exceptional one, as well as the information on company pages. And then on our website, sunlife.ca/advisor best practices, we have a variety of tools on how to market yourself. So whether that's online or getting in front of people in person, business building tools, as well as topics you can talk to people about in our client engagement section and professional insights. So take a look at sunlife.ca/advisor best practices. We update this on a regular basis, so there's always new information there for you.
Well, thanks again, David and Chad and Allison. We'll see you soon.
Allison.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Thank you, Allison.